Marketing AI Radio, your shortcut to building smarter AI-driven marketing organizations.
It seems like everywhere you turn these days, AI is the hot topic.
Yeah.
And all the headlines are screaming about like AI is going to make us 60 times faster, especially in marketing.
Right.
Imagine an email written in just seconds.
Wow.
Who wouldn't get excited about that?
It's a very seductive idea.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of us are realizing that those insane time savings we were promised aren't really happening.
Yeah, they're not quite materializing the way we expected.
Exactly.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
If AI can write an email 60 times faster, shouldn't our work days feel, 60 times shorter?
Well, there's the catch.
Okay.
The source we're looking at today calls this the AI productivity myth.
Okay.
And it boils down to this.
Okay.
We're so focused on how fast AI can do individual tasks, like writing that email.
Right.
But we're totally forgetting about the whole process around it.
So it's not just about how fast the AI is working, but how it fits into everything else we do.
That's it. Think of it like this.
Okay.
It's like you put a supercharged engine in like a beat-up old car.
Yep.
The engine may be incredibly powerful.
Right.
But if the transmission's busted, the tires are flat, and you're stuck in traffic, you're not going anywhere fast.
I see where you're going with this.
Yeah.
So what are some of these like flat tires or traffic jams in our workflow that are holding us back from actually seeing these AI gains?
One of the biggest culprits is what the source calls the wait state problem.
Okay.
And I think this resonates with anyone who's ever worked on, a collaborative project.
Right. So break this down for me.
Okay.
What exactly is a wait state?
Basically, it's anytime a task is just sitting there inactive, waiting for someone or something else to move it forward.
Oh, I know those all too well.
Right.
I'm a black belt in waiting for approvals.
Exactly. And the article gives this really good example of turning a blog post into a newsletter.
Okay.
An AI can probably create that newsletter copy in, 20 minutes?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Super efficient. But then it hits the wait state. The copy needs approval from the boss. Someone has to find a graphic, maybe create a graph. The whole thing needs to be formatted and scheduled.
Right.
Each of those steps involves waiting.
Right.
Waiting for someone to check their email, waiting for a file to upload, waiting for approval to come down from on high.
So the actual work might be blazing fast, but then it gets stuck.
Precisely.
In limbo.
Yeah. The source breaks down a typical scenario.
Okay.
Where 2 hours of actual work gets spread out over 4 days.
Ouch.
Because of all the waiting.
Yeah, that is painful, and it feels so relatable.
Right.
Can you think of any times in your own work where AI speed was just totally negated by delays elsewhere?
Honestly, I think it happens more than we even realize.
Yeah.
Even just scheduling this recording, we can plan the content really quickly.
Right.
But then, coordinating calendars, waiting for confirmations, that kind of stuff.
It's everywhere. It's like watching paint dry.
Yes.
But instead of paint, it's our time.
Exactly.
And it's not even just about waiting on other people. Sometimes it's waiting on information. Access to tools, or just waiting for the right software to finish processing something.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
And, the source goes even further to say, even when AI frees up time by doing tasks faster, we don't always use that extra time effectively.
I have a feeling I know where this is going.
Yeah.
You're talking about all those time-sucking tasks that magically appear the second we have a free moment.
You got it.
Yeah.
Those quick favors that turn into multi-hour projects.
Yeah.
Last-minute requests that just derail our plans.
Yes.
And all those pet projects that eat up entire afternoons.
Yep. Just little side quests.
Exactly. It's like the universe just hates empty space.
Yeah.
But instead of empty space, it's our free time that gets filled up.
It just gets sucked right into the void.
Yeah. And often those filler tasks aren't even aligned with our goals or priorities.
Right. So we end up working faster, but not really smarter.
Yeah.
AI gives us a burst of speed, but then we just spin our wheels on all this low-value stuff.
Yeah, and that's why the source describes AI as like this double-edged sword.
Okay.
It can speed up those individual tasks,
Right.
but without a solid process in place, it actually makes our existing inefficiencies even worse.
So what's the answer then?
Well,
are we just doomed to fall into this AI productivity myth trap forever?
Absolutely not.
Okay, good.
The source actually has a pretty hopeful message.
Okay.
It's all about changing our perspective.
All right.
We need to stop seeing AI as just this speed tool
Okay.
and start thinking of it as a process optimizer.
I like that shift in perspective.
Yeah.
It's not just about doing things faster,
Right.
but about doing the right things the right way.
Exactly.
So how do we actually do that?
Well,
How do we optimize our processes?
the source gives us 5 key steps. And I think they're a really good roadmap for anyone who wants to unlock AI's true potential.
Okay, lay them on me. What are those 5 steps?
Step 1 is like the foundation.
Okay.
Map your workflows.
Okay.
You need to get a clear picture of all the steps involved in your work, not just your own individual tasks, but how they all connect to the bigger picture.
So understanding the whole journey, not just isolated sprints.
That's it. And as you're mapping it out,
Okay.
the goal is to identify the bottlenecks.
Okay.
Where are things slowing down?
Right.
Where do tasks tend to get stuck?
I'm guessing those bottlenecks are usually those dreaded wait states we were talking about earlier.
You nailed it. And once you've identified those friction points, you can start brainstorming ways to streamline them.
So things like simplifying approval processes,
Yeah.
automating certain tasks, or finding ways to be reliant on specific people.
Exactly. And here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
AI can actually play a big role in optimizing those workflows.
So we're not just throwing AI at individual tasks,
Right.
but using it to analyze and improve the whole system.
That's right. The source gives this cool example of using AI to predict bottlenecks.
Okay.
Imagine you're working on a project and your AI tool analyzes past data
Okay.
and says, hey, based on previous projects, there's a high chance of a delay at this specific stage.
Wow.
Yeah. Pretty amazing, right?
That's like having a crystal ball for your projects.
Right.
You could address those potential roadblocks before they even become problems.
Exactly. It takes all the stress out of those wait states.
Yeah, for sure. And the source also talked about using AI to make better decisions.
Yeah.
It's not just about AI doing the work for us.
Right.
It's about AI helping us make smarter choices about which work to do in the first place. So it's like having an AI advisor that says, okay, here are the different paths you can take.
Right.
And here's what's likely to happen based on the data.
Exactly.
It was so helpful.
Especially when you're facing those complex decisions where there are just too many variables for your brain to handle.
That's too much. Yeah.
It goes back to what we were saying about prioritization. If you're using AI to understand the impact of your choices, you can be more confident you're focusing on the most valuable work.
It's like AI is giving us superpowers.
I know, right?
But I have to admit, for a lot of people, this whole process optimization thing might seem a bit overwhelming.
Totally. Understandable.
Where do you even begin?
It is a shift in mindset for sure.
Yeah.
And it might involve learning some new tools or even restructuring how you work.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be scary.
Okay.
A good starting point is that first step we talked about.
Okay.
Mapping your workflows.
Right back to the basics.
Yeah.
Just understanding each step in the process and how it all fits together.
Exactly.
How detailed does this map need to be?
It doesn't have to be super complex. Even a simple flowchart can do the trick.
Yeah.
Just list out the major steps in your process and think about how long each one usually takes.
Okay.
The goal is just to get a visual representation of how work is flowing through your team or organization.
Okay, that feels manageable.
Yeah.
So once we have that map, what's next?
Then you can start to analyze it.
Okay.
Look for those bottlenecks we discussed,
Oh,
the areas where things are slowing down or getting stuck.
And once you see those bottlenecks clearly, you can start figuring out ways to eliminate them.
Yeah. Or at least streamline them.
Maybe automating some tasks, reducing dependencies, or rethinking the approval process.
Exactly. And that's where AI can come in and be super powerful.
Right.
Once you understand your workflow, you can start exploring specific AI tools and techniques that can help you optimize it.
So it's all about using AI strategically, not as a Band-Aid for individual tasks.
Right.
We're thinking bigger picture. We're focusing on the entire system.
Exactly.
Do you have any examples of AI tools or techniques that people can use for this kind of process optimization?
There are tons of new tools popping up all the time.
Right.
Some are designed specifically for workflow automation, others for project management, and some even for predicting potential delays or risks.
Okay.
It really depends on what you need and the kind of work you do.
So it's about finding the right tool for the job.
Exactly. But even more important than the specific tools is the underlying mindset.
Okay.
It's about seeing AI as a partner in optimizing your work.
Right.
Not just a way to speed up tasks.
I love that idea of AI as a process optimizer.
Yeah,
I feel so much more empowering than just focusing on speed.
it is.
But I'm curious, are there any real-world examples
Oh, yeah.
of companies or teams
Yeah.
who are already doing this successfully?
I was actually just thinking the same thing
Yes.
as I was reading the source. It gives these great principles, but it would be really helpful to see them in action.
Right, like who are these teams that are seeing these transformational gains?
Yeah.
The article keeps talking about.
Are there any case studies or success stories we can learn from?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the source doesn't give us any specific examples.
Oh, okay.
But I think that just shows that we're still in the early stages of figuring all this out.
Right.
There's so much potential, but we're still figuring out what it looks like to really integrate AI into our workflows in a way that maximizes its benefits.
But it's like we're all pioneers,
Kind of.
figuring out how to navigate this new AI frontier.
Exactly.
But even without concrete examples, I think the principles in this article are super valuable.
I agree.
They give us a framework for thinking about AI and productivity in a whole new way.
Totally.
Yeah. And as we start experimenting with these different tools and techniques,
Yeah.
I think those principles will be essential for guiding our decisions and making sure we're using AI in a way that actually benefits us.
For sure.
This has been a really thought-provoking conversation.
Oh, yeah.
We've covered a lot.
Yeah.
From the AI productivity myth to those annoying wait states
Right.
to the importance of mapping out our workflows.
Yeah.
And we're starting to see how AI can be this amazing process optimizer,
Right.
not just a speed tool.
Exactly.
But before we wrap up,
Okay.
I want to go back to something the source mentioned that I think is super important.
Okay.
Prioritization frameworks.
Oh, yeah. Prioritization.
Yeah.
It's the key to making sure we're working on the right things.
Exactly.
Even if we have the perfect workflow.
It's like having a finely tuned race car,
Right.
but driving in the wrong direction. All that speed won't get you where you need to go
That's a great analogy.
if you're on the wrong track.
Yeah. And the source mentions a couple of specific frameworks that are worth looking into.
Yeah, tell us about RIScoring.
Stuff.
Value effort matrices.
Right. Can I break those down for you?
Please.
Okay. RIScoring.
Okay.
It's a pretty popular framework for prioritizing projects and features.
Okay.
It stands for Reach, Impact, Confidence, and Effort.
So you basically evaluate each potential project
Yeah.
based on those 4 factors.
Right. You give a score to each factor
Okay.
based on your best guess, and then you use those scores to calculate an overall priority score for each project.
It's like a way to quantify the value of different projects.
Exactly.
So you can compare them and make more objective decisions about where to focus your energy.
That's the idea. And it can be really helpful when you're choosing between multiple projects that all seem important.
Yeah.
It brings a level of data to the decision-making process.
Right. It makes it less subjective.
Yeah.
And what about those value effort matrices?
Those are a bit simpler.
Okay.
You plot each task or project on a grid
Okay.
with one axis for the value it brings.
And the other axis for the effort required.
So you can quickly see which tasks are high value, low effort.
Right. Those are the sweet spots.
These are the ones you want to prioritize.
Yeah. And then you have the tasks that are high effort, low value.
Right.
And those are the ones you might want to reconsider.
Okay.
Maybe delegate or even just get rid of.
It all comes back to making sure
Yeah.
we're spending our time and energy on the things that will make the biggest impact, both for ourselves and our organizations.
For sure. And these frameworks can be really empowering.
Yeah, I think so too.
They help us be more deliberate about our work
Right.
and focus on the things that really matter.
And that's super important in a world where we're constantly bombarded with distractions
It's more important than ever
and demands on our time.
to have a system
Yeah.
for deciding what to focus on
Right.
and what to let go.
These frameworks can be that system.
Exactly.
This is all making sense, but I have a question.
Is there a danger
Hmm.
in becoming too reliant on these frameworks and systems?
That's a good question.
Could we end up sacrificing
Yeah.
some of that human intuition and creativity?
That's an interesting point. I think it's something to be aware of. These frameworks are tools.
Right.
And like any tool that can be used well or poorly, we have to be careful not to let them become too rigid
Right.
or prescriptive.
It's about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Using the frameworks as a guide, but not letting them dictate everything we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We need to use our judgment and experience to interpret the data from these frameworks and make the best choices for our specific situation.
Right. And sometimes that might mean going with our gut. even if the data says something different.
Sometimes that's the right call.
It's about remembering that we're humans,
Yeah,
not robots.
exactly. AI can be incredible
Yeah.
for helping us make better decisions, but it shouldn't replace our own human judgment,
Right.
creativity, and intuition.
So it's about that synergy
Uh-huh.
between human intelligence
Yeah,
and artificial intelligence.
absolutely. That's where the magic happens.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
We've explored the AI productivity myth and how to overcome it.
Right.
We talked about wait states, process optimization,
Yeah.
and those powerful prioritization frameworks.
It's been a good one.
We're not quite done yet, though.
Really?
There's still more to unpack. Yeah, we've covered a lot, from those pesky wait states that always seem to crop up to the power of using AI to analyze and improve our workflows. And we really dug into those prioritization frameworks, too,
Right. Those are so important.
like RIScoring and value effort matrices to make sure we're focusing on the right things.
Exactly. It's all about being intentional with our time.
Yeah, especially when we have all these incredible AI tools at our fingertips. AI has the potential to be truly transformative.
For sure.
But as we've seen, it's not a magic bullet.
Definitely not.
We can't just throw AI at a problem and expect everything to magically work out.
It takes more than that.
We need to use AI strategically and thoughtfully.
I agree.
And that all starts with understanding our own workflows and figuring out where AI can really make a difference.
And sometimes that means taking a step back and looking at our processes with fresh eyes.
Exactly.
Maybe streamline approvals, automate some tasks, or even rethink how we make decisions.
It's about seeing AI as a partner in this whole process of improvement.
That's a great way to put it.
It can give us insights and data to help us make better choices.
Right.
But in the end, we're the ones calling the shots.
We're steering the ship.
I love that. It's about AI empowering us, not replacing us.
Exactly.
And I think that's such an important message for anyone feeling a little overwhelmed by all the AI hype out there.
It can definitely feel like a lot.
It doesn't have to be this scary, mysterious force. It can be a powerful tool for good, but only if we use it wisely.
Couldn't agree more. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from today is that shift in mindset from seeing AI as just a speed tool to seeing it as a process optimizer.
Absolutely. That's a crucial shift.
It's not just about speed, it's about doing the right things the right way.
And AI can be a powerful ally in that journey.
It can.
It can help us see those bottlenecks, predict potential issues, and make smarter decisions. But ultimately, the responsibility for making our work better lies with us.
It does.
We have to map our workflows,
Right.
prioritize our tasks, and make sure we're using AI in a way that lines up with our goals.
And our values.
That's where the real power comes from, I think, in that collaboration between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
It's all about finding that synergy.
Using AI to enhance our own abilities and make us even more effective in our work.
Well said.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Sounds good.
But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
Remember how the article talked about those teams that combined AI speed with discipline?
Yeah, those teams were seeing those incredible gains.
Right. Transformational gains, they called them.
Exactly.
So think about your own work.
Okay.
What's one area where you could try this approach and make a real difference? What's one bottleneck that's been driving you crazy?
Good question.
What's one decision you've been wrestling with? Could AI help you find a better solution? Take some time this week to ponder those questions. And if you want more guidance on implementing AI effectively, check out the show notes for a link to the full article.
It's definitely worth a read.
Hey, thanks for listening to the show today. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Visit us at marketingfrontier.ai for more resources, tools, and expert advice. And until next time, keep pushing the boundaries of what AI can do for you.